Hey guys, so before we move forward talking about the different types of hair color, I just wanted to pick up where we left off on the last slide in regards to how to read the color boxes. So you guys are going to work with me in class reading swatches, and we're going to learn the key. We have Wella color at the college. That is our predominant color line. We are getting a new color line in very soon. We have several different lines, but our biggest color line for our natural and demi shades is going to be Wella. So with each color line comes a different key. They can either be letter system or a number system. Most commonly, you're going to find these in number systems. So in the last slide, they used the example 6G, which means level 6 gold. Or if it was red, 6R, level 6 red. So with the number system, there's a key, and it tells you what each number means. Okay. For instance, this one, 4/77. Okay. That first number is always going to be what level? So this color is a level 4. Okay. The second number is going to be the primary tone. The second number behind the slash is going to be the secondary tone. Okay. In this case, it's the same number, 7/7. If I look at my Wella key, that 7 is going to tell me that that's brown. So this is a level 4 intense brown. So it is a brown. Okay. Again, I do not expect you to fully wrap your head around that. We're going to do some exercises in class that is going to help with this. Okay. I'm going to show you guys another one. So this is level 7, and then you see /81. So I know in Wella, 8 is the predominant tone, which is blue, and 1 is the secondary tone, that is ash. So this is a level 7 blue ash. Then one more I'm going to show you guys. This is an 8/69. Okay, this is a level 8. I know that because it's the front number. After the slash, the primary tone is 6, which is violet, and the secondary tone is 9, which is a cendre. So this is a level 8 violet cendre. Okay. All right. So let's talk about understanding the types of hair colors. Okay. We have several different categories of hair color. You have non-oxidative hair color, oxidative hair color, lighteners, metallic hair colors, and natural colors. We're also going to talk about developers later on, alkalizing ingredients. We are going to talk about lighteners later on. I just want to really get into the types of hair color in this lecture. Also in this lecture, we're going to talk a little bit about the developers, but we are going to go more in depth later. I am going to introduce some of the lighteners, but we are going to talk more in depth about those as well in a different lecture. Okay? So non-oxidative, what does that mean? That means that they are either temporary or semi-permanent colors. Okay? Oxidative hair color, that is going to be your demi-permanent and your permanent hair colors. Okay? These are going to require a patch test. Okay? Developer, all permanent hair color products, lighteners contain both a developer and an oxidizing agent. Okay, what happens is it raises the cuticle of the hair so that hair color can penetrate into that cortex. It raises up that cuticle, and then when it passes through the cuticle, it goes into the cortex layer. It also increases the penetration of dye within the hair. Okay, this will also trigger the lightening action of peroxide. Again, we're going to go into that a little bit. I know you guys are so tired of looking at me, so I took the camera off for just a few minutes so that we can move forward in our lesson. I just wanted to show you those couple of things, and I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into each one of these. So we have temporary hair color. These are non-oxidation colors that only make a physical change. So I told you earlier, they're sprays, they're gels, they're mousses, shampoos. It is a physical change. Nothing is happening chemically in the hair shaft. That is why no patch test is necessary. Okay, so in temporary hair color, these molecules that you see over here are very large. Okay, they do not penetrate this cuticle layer, and you can see that. They're sitting on the very edge of this cuticle layer. Okay, they only are coating that hair shaft, and that's what they're doing by sitting out there. That temporary color creates a physical change in the hair, not a chemical change. It is good for neutralizing unwanted tones. So again, that's why these purple shampoos or blue shampoos are so big on the market right now, because clients at home can take these and get those unwanted tones out of their hair. Color rinses. So they are applied with each shampoo to add color. A lot of older people get color rinses. We do not do them a lot anymore, but I know you have seen older people come in and they get their hair done once a week and they have these roller sets done, and they come in, and one of the most popular colors is plush brown. So just say she's a brunette naturally and she's starting to gray a little bit, what it does is just give her a little bit of that brown. It does not cover that gray. It's not going to blend that gray, but it brings out a little bit of color in her hair for the week. Now, when she comes back to us and we shampoo that out, it's going to come out. Colored mousses and gels, I talked about this earlier. A lot of the Halloween colors and things that you see out around this time of year come in mousse or gel form. This creates more of those dramatic effects. They also have it in like a hair mascara. It's like a wand. You dip it into your color, and then you can kind of hand paint it on your hair where you want it. Again, that's a dramatic effect. Spray on hair color, that's, very easy to use. You do that mainly for special effects. And then you have the color enhancing shampoos that we have continued to talk about. These are used to brighten, put a slight color into the hair, or a tinge or a tone, and to eliminate those unwanted tones. Again, you can get those available in a variety of different colors and products nowadays. It is unreal how many different colors they come in. These are going to be to diffuse out during the shampooing. So again, they only last for one shampoo. So if you put this, if I put pink in my hair just for a tone to add a little warmth to my hair, I put just say some rose gold pink in there, then it's not going to show up a whole lot in my brunette hair. The tone will, and it may on my ends where they're lighter, but when I shampoo my hair, it's going to wash out. It is a non-oxidation hair color. That means, again, it is not mixed with any hydrogen peroxide. It does not deposit color at all. Okay, so let's move into semi-permanent color. So semi-permanent is no lift. So you cannot get any lift. It's only depositing, which means you can use this if you're going darker or the same level. It is a non-oxidation hair color that is not mixed with peroxide. Sorry, I had to get me a drink of water. Semi-permanent color is going to be that cellophanes and the long tube that I was talking about, or the Wella paints, the Color Touch paints, Color Charm paints, I'm sorry. It lasts through several shampoos depending on the hair's porosity. If the hair has a very high porosity, it's going to grab it and it's going to, lose it very quick. A low porosity, it may hang on to it a lot longer. Pigment molecules, you can see in this one, they're a little bit smaller, whereas in the temporary, these molecules were hanging just out here. You'll see the semi-permanent ones go a little bit further into that cuticle layer. They partially penetrate the hair shaft, and they're going to stain that cuticle layer. Okay. They diffuse out the hair during shampooing. Again, with each shampoo, it's going to continue to fade. These semi-permanent colors are going to last 4 to 6 shampoos. It does not require maintenance for new growth because there is no hydrogen peroxide, so it's not going to be a new growth situation. Non-oxidation, again, that means it's not mixed with any peroxide. It only is going to deposit. It does require a patch test. So perform the test, again, 24 to 48 hours prior to the application. Okay. Let's move on to demi-permanent hair color. This is also called no lift, deposit only color. It depends or creates a change in the tone or the natural hair. It is available in gel, cream, or liquid. It requires a patch test 24 to 48 hours before application. No lift, deposit only. So you cannot go lighter with demi-permanent. You can only go darker or tone or the same color. Okay. So it deposits color. It does not lift. It is less alkaline than permanent colors. It is mixed with a low volume developer. With your demi-permanents, you're going to mix it with either a 6 volume or a 13 volume. They are both below 10 volume. You can use 10 volume. Some demi-permanent hair color lines do call for 10 volume as well. These are commonly known as a glaze. We use them a lot for toners. I told you I use these more in the salon than I used permanent hair color as well. If there's no need to use permanent hair color, then why would I use permanent hair color? The objective for these demi-permanent colors are to introduce a client to a hair color service. This is a great place to start with a client to see if hair color is going to be for them. You can blend or cover in gray. I would say up to about 60% gray, you're going to be able to blend, not completely cover, but blend gray. Refresh your faded color. Color corrections and restoring natural color, these are great for that. Then you have permanent hair color. Permanent hair color can lighten or it can deposit at the same time in a single process because they are more alkaline than demi-permanent. They are usually mixed with a higher volume developer. Okay, so these are used to match, lighten, or cover gray hair. So when I say match, that would be a color retouch. When we say lighten, that means you have natural hair and you want to go lighter. If you do not have natural hair color, this will not work. You have to use a lightener. You cannot get away with permanent hair color. Covering gray, it will do this because it goes inside that cortex, opens up that cuticle, and goes inside that cortex and deposits color. It does contain ammonia during an oxidative application. That is going to be your peroxide. It does require a patch test, 24 to 48 hours. It does contain aniline derivatives. So what is an aniline derivative? It is an uncolored dye, which is very small compounds that can be diffused into the hair shaft. These combined, the aniline derivatives cannot be shampooed out. Permanent tint molecules are trapped within the cortex and with water to form larger molecules. So sorry about that. The computer had an update. Okay, these also can remove natural pigment while adding the artificial color. So if you are natural, do not have any color on your hair, it's going to remove that natural pigment and it's going to add that artificial color at the same time in a single process. You are definitely going to have to use permanent hair color when you cover gray hair. And we'll get into this later, but you're going to have to use a natural color like 6, 5, 7, 8. Nothing like 4/77. You've got to use a natural in there. It has all three of the primary colors, and those primary colors are needed to go back into that gray because gray hair is missing pigment. So we have to put the natural color back into it. And I'll explain that in class. I have a really good diagram for that. And we're going to work on some exercises in class as well. So here is the permanent hair color action in place. So if you'll see, this is the cuticle, the hair shaft. These molecules are actually going to pass through that hair shaft, the cuticle, and they're going to live inside the cortex. Well, what happens is they become larger, like I just said a while ago. So when they become larger, they do not come out. Okay. Before we get into natural hair colors, I want to talk to you about a soap cap. And this is something a little bit more advanced. We're going to talk about it later with lighteners as well. It is used with water and shampoo. So a soap cap is a combination of equal parts of permanent color, shampoo, during the last 5 minutes of a hair color service, and work through the hair to refresh the ends. I also call this emulsifying. So if you're doing permanent hair color and you're doing a retouch, you do not want to pull that color past the retouch line because you're going to create a line of demarcation, and that is, we do not want that. That's where you start to see the bands in the hair. So what you're going to do is add shampoo to that, water and shampoo to that hair color mixture, and the last 5 minutes in the shampoo bowl, you can pull it through those ends. If you pull it through the ends the entire time, color over color is going to make a darker color. So think of it as if you have a brown crayon and you draw on a white piece of paper with a brown crayon. You go over that crayon with another brown color. You add a little bit more in the same areas. It's going to continue to get darker, right? So color over color is going to get it darker. So that is where the soap cap or the emulsification comes into play. So moving right along to metallic hair colors, natural and metallic colors. And I have skipped the slide. I'm so sorry. Natural colors are hair colors that are generally not used in the salon, but you still need to be familiar with these. They are natural or vegetable hair colors, metallic hair colors. Why? For safety reasons, for sure. Natural hair colors are also known as vegetable hair colors. These are henna. These colors are obtained from leaves, bark, or plants. And I know you think that's very far-fetched, but it is not. There is no lightning action that occurs. Color results tend to be weak. The process is lengthy and messy. Shades are very limited because these are natural colors. They're available in black, chestnut, and auburn tones. Many professional products cannot be applied over natural hair colors. They cannot because they are vegetable hair colors, the henna, the metallics in it. So what is metallic hair colors? They are also known as progressive hair colors. They are containing metal salts that change the color of the hair gradually by progressive buildup and exposure to air, creating a dull metallic appearance. These are going to be mostly your box colors. Okay, they contain metal salts. They facilitate a progressive change in color, ultimately creates a dull metallic unnatural look. They're going to fade to your warm golden red, those gross brassy tones that you see. They require daily application, historically have been marketed to men. A lot of men hair colors are metallic hair colors. A lot of box colors have metallic salts in them. We have to know this. We have to know what we look for. There is a metallic salt test that I'm going to show you guys later how to do. If not, this could be, your hair could break off. It's not good for the integrity of the hair. All right, now that I have turned my camera off, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more in depth about the hydrogen peroxide and the developers. So 20 volume is standard, and when I say that, I don't really use anything higher than 20 unless I am lifting. If you do it correctly and you do it slow, you won't have to. Sometimes you do need that 30 and 40 volume. 20 is very standard, and I think why my lady says it's standard is because you're always going to use 20 volume when you're covering gray. Now, when I say that I used a lot of demi-permanent, I used a lot of, below 10 volume or 10 volume when I was in the salon. And still today, that's what, when I'm looking and researching and things like that, color formulas, and I'm looking at Instagram reels and things like that, they're doing the same thing. So this using 20 volume for every single thing does not necessarily work nowadays. There are better ways to do it for the integrity of the hair. 10 volume is used for less lightening. 10 volume is always depositing, but it still does lighten because it's got that hydrogen peroxide in it. It's just not as high. Higher volume is a greater lift. 30 volume is used for lift. 40 volume is used with high lift colors. I do have one of the high lift colors that I showed you earlier, the Celestine Perfect. It is a 12-1. So obviously our level system runs from 1 to 10. So there are colors out there that are on the level of 11 or 12. They're going to be your high lift colors. Again, you have to use these on natural hair color only. These are only going to be mixed with 30 or 40 volume. Okay. Where do you store developer? You have to make sure that you store this in a cool, dark, and dry place. It is very important. If not, it will oxidize. Okay, and so I just talked about all of this, but there is a really good chart in your book about this. 10 volume is used to deposit color, or when less lift is desired to enhance a client's natural color. 20 volume standard, it will give you 2 levels of lift. It is used to achieve most results with permanent hair color. 30 volume, 3 levels of lift. 40 volume, 4 levels of lift. And different stylists say different things. I will say this is the basics. This is going to work every single time. Some people will say, well, 40 volume lifted me all the way from a level 3 all the way up to a 10. It may have happened on that one person because the stars lined up, the texture, the density, porosity, body temperature, all lined up. But that is not going to work every single time. What is on this chart is going to work every single time. 40 volume is going to be for your high lift colors. It provides maximum lift and one-step color service. Every semester, a student always asks me about, is there higher volumes? There are higher volumes on the market. There is a 50 and a 60. They are not common. And to be honest, in the 17 years that I have been a stylist, I have never once needed or used them. So we're going to switch gears again. We're going to talk about lighteners a little bit. Lighteners are chemical compounds that lighten the hair by dispersing, dissolving, and decolorizing the natural hair pigment. Hydrogen peroxide begins to release oxygen when it's mixed with a lightener. A double process application is a 2-step coloring where the hair is pre-lightened first, toned, or either color is deposited after. So I'm going to break this down for you guys because lighteners can be, very difficult to understand. So when it says a double process, okay, so most people do not have natural hair color. It's nice if they do, and we can lighten them with hair color if they do, depending on how high they want to be lifted. However, even if they just want to be lifted a couple of levels, it cannot be done with color if they have hair color already on their hair, or artificial pigment is what we'll call it. So this is where lighteners come into action. You can put some 10 volume with a lightener on there and lift it, There are several different ways you can go about it. We're going to get into the color correction of that, but that's what it means is when you pre-lighten the hair, you have to lighten it before you can actually deposit the color on it, rather it be a natural color. Just say you have a client that is a level 5. She's been coloring her hair like that for years, and she wants to be a level 7. That's just 2 levels up. So you lighten her all over, that could be very messy. You may be creating more problems depending on how you go about it. You lighten her, and then you take what is the undertone or the contributing pigment, which is what we talked about in the last slide, and you decide how to formulate her color. When formulating her color, you're going to deposit her new color. Or you can use this, you can pre-lighten hair and add a color on it. Maybe they want some, blue pieces in their hair. So you have to pre-lighten it to a certain color, a certain lightness to achieve the blue. Maybe they want highlights and you are lifting to get them to an icy blonde or to a beige blonde, and you're going to use a toner on it. So that is a double process where you are lifting and then you turn around and deposit. So what is the purpose of lighteners? We can use it to lighten the hair prior to a final color application. We can lighten it to a particular shade. We can use them to brighten and lighten an existing shade, to lighten only certain parts of the hair. We can use them to lighten dark, natural, or color-treated levels. So now we're going to get into the fun stuff, the decolorizing process. Okay, so the hair goes through as many as 10 stages as it lightens. The amount of change depends on the amount of pigment in the hair, the strength of the lightening product, and the length of time the product is processed. So there are several stars that line up for this decolorizing process. Please do not get this chart mixed up with the level system. The level system runs from 1 to 10, black, all the way up to the lightest blonde. This I want you to look at as the decolorizing. This is underneath the level system. So what I'm saying is, underneath, when I lighten that black hair, a level 1, underneath that contributing pigment is dark or red-brown. Underneath a level 3, that contributing pigment when I use a lightener is going to be red. So I have to know how to counteract that. We talked about earlier complementary colors. Now, if I lift my client who is a level 3, and I know that under that level 3 is going to be red, and she doesn't want to see red, then I need to have some kind of ash, because that is opposite red on the color wheel in my formula. Same here. If I have a level 8 and I lift her here, yellow gold is the contributing pigment, okay? But she does not want to see any yellow or gold. So I go back to my color wheel. I look at my color, my complementary colors. Yellow, what is across from yellow? That is going to be violet, okay? So then the violet neutralizes those yellow tones. Okay. So again, this is a very important chart, and this is very important. You have to understand this in order to formulate color. The varying degrees of warmth exposed during the lightening process, that is the contributing pigment, just to remind you of the definition. First, you have to decolorize the hair to the appropriate level. So you're going to use a lightener, and you're going to go up to whatever level that your client is trying to get to. Is it a level 3? Is it a level 7? Is it a level 9? When you get there and you have these pigments, you have to know how to formulate either the color that you're putting on the hair or the toner that you're putting on the hair, which is also color. Second, the new color is applied to the artificial. That's what I was just talking about. Lightening to the correct stage is essential to a beautiful, controlled, desired result. So that's also very important. if my client is wanting a level 8 beige blonde, I need to lift her to at least this color. If I lift her and she only comes up to a level 5, there's no way that I can achieve that for her. I have to lift her to her desired level. Okay? The level is the main thing. We can work out the contributing pigment when we formulate the color that goes on there. Let's talk about toners. So traditional toners are semi-permanent and demi-permanent, long-lasting semi-permanent and permanent hair color products that use primarily on pre-lightened hair to achieve a pale or delicate color. Okay, so again, they can be permanent, semi-permanent, demi-permanent. Most common for a toner, I use a demi-permanent. I do that because they last a little bit longer. Most toners do not come in a permanent color line. There are some out there, but for the most part, demi-permanent is going to be your best bet. Okay, so you're going to apply them to the lightest degree of contributing pigment. So go back to that chart we were just talking about. When I told you, you're going to lift them to the level of the desired and then find out what the contributing pigment is per the chart. Then you'll know how to formulate. The goal is to create the correct degree of contributing pigment as the foundation for the final result. Again, you have to lift to that desired level. Toners can also be used after dimensional hair color services. You can use this when you're doing lowlights, highlights, and a base color all at one time. Never lift past a pale yellow. I always say never go past the inside of a banana. It's not natural. I realize that these ladies and men, they want these ice blonde Elsa colors, but those are not natural. If you strip everything out, you're going to strip that entire cortex. And there's nothing for these toners or hair color to hang on to. Okay? You can tone that inside of a banana to get what they want. Hair is going to become mushy if you lift too high. Hair is also going to lose its elasticity, which means it's probably going to break. It will be harsh. It'll be brittle when it's dry. It often suffers breakage to a pale yellow and neutralizing the unwanted undertone of a toner. Okay. All right, guys, that is all for this lecture. I am going to begin with consultation in the third video for hair coloring. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to be asking you some questions about this. Thank you.